of a tune out of the players. You know, he has to, and it's not good enough, people. It really isn't. Let's jump in. Let's jump into the tactics quickly as well, people. Big up the 339 of you in here. Please make sure you're hitting the like button. Let me switch this. In fact, no, I can't even do it. I can't even do it that way. So I'm not even gonna do that. I'm just gonna do it this way, really. Cancel it. Now, people, I hope you're doing well and safe. Let me, you know me, we're working with a limited resources, but this is basically Everton's position, right? You saw four at the back, Ben Godfrey, and you saw Holgate. Now, Holgate got forward and Ben Godfrey as well, but they're not natural set fullbacks. So I'm trying to paint the picture by making them narrow. You had a 4-3-3 of such. You obviously had Tom Davis and Decore. You had Sigurdsson. You had the big man Calvert-Lewin up front, former Arsenal fan. You've got Leno in goal for us. You know, I'm not putting us on there on purpose. You've got Richarlison and you had Iwobi. Now, without showing our players, you know, in real times in the first half, you probably saw this. He was getting quite narrow. Midfielder there. Sigurdsson getting close. You know, their fullbacks were high in our own half. And for me, which was the most concerning, is this, the centre halves, people. You know, Yerry Mina and Michael Keane, you know, again, whatever you say about the form of our players, or the ability of our players, they're not the slowest. So for me, the fact it speaks volumes that Everton could say, cool, we're going to play a high line. Yerry Mina and Keane, they back themselves against an Eddie Nketiah, against a Willian, against a Pepe. You know, they're playing high lines. You had Michael Keane trying to score from 30 yards. Yerry Mina obviously scored, and there was problems. I was actually impressed with Everton as well because they pressed with with Calvert-Lewin. Richarlison was getting quite narrow, as was Iwobi. Sigurdsson was back in the thing, and you had their two midfielders. So if I move all of this, because it's just looking like jargon, and do that again, people, you know, and if I paint our defense, remove this front three. You know, out of possession is where we had problems, people. There was no out ball for us, and the midfield wasn't showing for it. And what did you see? A big reason as to why it's just going long, because you had Calvert-Lewin, you know, you had Richarlison, who played very well on the left hand side. You had Iwobi, you know, you had Sigurdsson joining when he could. You had the two midfielders, and like I said, you know, you had their fullbacks in our half, and that we couldn't get out of that. And for me, the problem was, if we just focus on the midfield and the attack, the problem was when you can't get out, you need midfielders who are brave. Elneny and Ceballos were quite frankly pussyholes in that game. Shook, scared, weren't on it, people. We're not on it at all. It was absolutely crazy. I will worry about whatever I want to worry about. Hit the like button. You know, hit the like button. It doesn't cost a thing, people. I have to keep reminding, it's called a call to action. If you actually look at YouTube and studies show, the more you constantly remind people, the more it happens. In the same way, when you say things 3 times, it's statistically proven to ring home. So I'll worry about whatever I want to speak about and what I would like to talk about, John. That's your last chance. Any nonsense, you're out. Anyways, back forward. Like I said, you need men that are brave. And I saw Elneny hiding. You know, it got to the point where I'm seeing Elneny purposely move Ceballos for a sec. He's purposely standing next to these men because he knows he's not going to get the ball. He's no bravery. And when you've just got your midfielders standing here, they're right next to each other. You know, you can see there's no out ball. You know, there's no out ball. When they're pressing, there's no out ball for us. So what can Leno do? He's got to go long and bang it into the channels. They've got to go long and bang it into the channels. And like you saw, they were just regaining the ball. So we bottled it. You know, I'm really not happy with them two midfielders. I think Ceballos and Elneny, you know, both of them are getting caught high up the field, like against Southampton and many other games. Both of them are either back here, you know. Ceballos is more concerned with diving and doing up the Beyblade thing. It was atrocious, people. It was a shocker. Like, it weren't good enough, man. It's absolutely nonsense. Like, it's just not good enough, man. That's one thing I'm scared of. It's like, you know, you could see the midfielders were showing no intent. They didn't want the ball, and you're hiding, and you could see it with David Luiz evidently getting angry. And one thing that annoyed me as well is because, you know, playing again, the only good thing was, like I said, you know, Maitland-Niles got forward and earned a penalty. Martinelli is back. But again, we know going into a game like this, we know set pieces is where it's won and lost. We know dead ball situation is where it's won and lost. If you actually go and look at the game from last week, I mean, go and watch the game again, you'll see little warnings where Calvert-Lewin is getting into space, people, and the first goal is poor, man. Like, the cross isn't stopped. They've gone from left to right. In fact, they've gone with left to right. Richarlison switched it out there. I think Tom Davies has played it to Iwobi, people, and there's admittedly more men. But where we've got in trouble now, it's again like against Southampton with Theo Walcott's goal, the midfield runners, people. Go look. You saw some, again, not to scale, it's a tactics board. It's hardly a real game. But like you saw, people, the balls come in. Like Tom Davies, I believe, passed it to Iwobi. Southampton, Theo Walcott scored because he ran into this space because it wasn't stopped. The same things happen. Calvert-Lewin has just ghosted in. No midfielders, no fullbacks have recognized that run. He's got in between, and it's too late then. You know, he's obviously headed it onto Holding and it's gone in. But again, the warning signs were there. You could see these things, you know, you could see these things growing, people. You know, Martinelli, in the same way, Martinelli can't be our savior. Saka can't be our savior. No man is an island. No one man can turn this club around. It's a collective effort. And the second goal that we conceded was poor as well. You know, and again, you have to put it down to the game management of Arteta, but also and his ability to get through to them. Because a year on now, almost to the day yesterday that you've been here, how are your boys switching off a minute or so before halftime after, you know, starting the game? After starting the game second best against Everton, somehow finding yourself back in the game. Most teams would go raw. You know, we didn't deserve that equalizer, but it's come to us now. This doesn't slip. Let's get into halftime. You know, and it's I feel sorry for Leno, because Leno's in the build up to the second goal. Leno's made a bad boy save to deny Calvert-Lewin a weldy, and we've let him down. You know, again, not to scale, people, not to scale, but again, like against Burnley, I'm seeing people that are a danger from set pieces not taking off the goalie. You learn that in Sunday League. You can see Mason Holgate and what's his face, Mason Holgate and Michael Keane on the keeper. I think Bukayo Saka is there. Another player would have been there as well. That tells you the first problem. They're occupying the keeper. That's what you're told. You know, that's what you're told in Sunday League. Same thing Burnley did. You know, hardly reinventing the wheel, people. You're told that sort of thing. You know, so you've got that. They're just poor. This is why I don't rate the zonal marking, full stop. You know, obviously this is happening as well, but just pretend this is still going on. But I'm going to remove this now. So keep that image in your head. Again, Pepe, you scored. And Pepe has to hold his hands up because he switched off. But I don't understand Arteta. You yourself have come out in the press and said Arteta's, you know, you've got a problem. Pepe has a problem defensively and you need to improve him. Like I said, the guys are removed. Please make sure you've got that in your head. But what did you see, people? He's left his man. You know, one of the strongest guys in the air, probably has a case to be the strongest in the air in that team. You know, if it's not Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison, and maybe Michael Keane and all of these other guys might have a say. But what did you see, people? What did you see? You know, Pepe's lost his man. He's got to run. Like I said, keep that image in your head of of Leno being occupied and whatnot. Absolutely bullied at the near post. He slaps it in, and that tells you the problem with our game management, not learning from set pieces. Because I can go as far back into the Spurs game. This same thing last season. This same thing happened with Kieran Tierney. You know, yeah, we can sit here and say, yeah, statistically, it's the first goal that Arsenal have conceded from a set piece, but we all know that's not the real truth. You know, it's not good enough. It really isn't good enough. And that's the only things that mattered for me from a tactical point of view. Yeah, like against Wolves and Spurs, when the damage is already done, we huffed and puffed a bit in the second half. We had more possession and things like that, but it doesn't mean anything. Like it doesn't get us anywhere. Like it's just poor, really and truly. Like I said, it sums it. The only good things we did is that Pickford that actually didn't keep a clean sheet, and that's another thing. You know, you've got a shaky keeper in Pickford, who's probably the one weakness in that Everton team, and the one thing that Everton fans, I'm sure, are worried about. We didn't test him. We scored penalty. You know, is what it is. We didn't test him. You know, like I said, people relish playing Arsenal. If we're real, Everton were not that good. You know, and I'm not trying to sound shady because their game plan was great, but you know, it was appalling. You know, even when they conceded, there was way too many open spaces, and we didn't take advantage. The key things for me is that no midfielders were showing for the ball. That's the main talking point for me. Nobody's showing for the ball. Nobody wanted it. Elneny is hiding. You know what, you can tell when someone is hiding. He's purposely standing near Everton players so he doesn't get the ball. You know, Ceballos is just playing in the wrong areas. His mindset is just not there. And he's, you know, all these tweets and things he's doing does not help me, people. It really doesn't help me. We let ourselves down, you know, and Nketiah sums up the decision making of us because he had so much time in the box and ultimately bottled it. You know, credit to, like I said, credit to Everton, you know, because they were spot on in whatever they were told to do, you know. They were whatever they were told to do. That's all I can talk about from a tactical point of view. So that's what 37 minutes in, really. So I can clip that up for those of you who are not in the stream but like that. Moving on, you know, hit the like button. Hit the like button, please. I know moderators, I can see some people that aren't fond of my videos saying the channel is crap and things like that. That's okay. It's not my fault their wives watch my thing. You know, a lot of bickering, bare baby thing. You know, but bickering on the field rather than standing up to be counted. Man are bickering. Somebody, it's like with Arsenal. Somebody always wants someone to blame. There's a blame game thing. Someone always wants to shift the focus. And although I think Arteta has to question it, this is why I get at players, because there's too many pillars for people to hide behind at this football club. It's always the man. It's always the manager. You know, it's always the manager. Or it's other certain players that their teammates are hiding behind. It's crazy. It's not helping us at all. It's just making us worse. Please hit the like button. Mesut Ozil. If only we had some creativity down the middle. Oh, wait. I don't even think you would solve all the problems. You know, you would help, but I don't even think you would solve the problem, really and truly. I really don't, because there's no movement. And as much as I'm getting at the midfield, there's not. When you've got a midfield who's not showing, when you've got non-existent movement with your front three, it's crazy. Like, it's crazy. Like, it's not making any sense. Like, it's absolutely more. It's appalling, man. We could always see it, man. Big up yourself, Randy. Thoughts on Martinez most clean sheets this season? Well, he wouldn't have it if he stayed at Arsenal, but we know Martinez is a good keeper. We all know we're a poor side defensively. When I look at Aston Villa, they're a team that's trying to do more than just fight relegation, and that's why they're doing what they're doing in the league and whatnot. Versus with us, like Josh has perfectly said, no fight, no drive, no desire, no passion. I'd add on to that and say no willingness to learn from mistakes, no real intent to want to be better. They don't want to be better. They don't want to be better. You know, you're meant to be of a growth mindset. You know, before you talk about the manager, the fans, I would want to play good because I've played good. Do these not feel a sense of embarrassment? Like, it's embarrassing, you know. Every game, new statistics are coming out to play. It's crazy. That is crazy. Big up yourself, Alex. You know, it either goes two ways. People always say, why have you got that name Deluded? Or they say, oh, I see why. Like I always say, either way, I wish I had £1 for everyone, man. Jay Maker has said, you, man, may I ask a question? Since I don't really watch Arsenal too much, if you want Ozil, how would you tactically use him? Well, you can't use him with 3 at the back unless he's playing off the flanks or something. So you'd have to go a 4-2-3-1. But then you'd need a balanced pivot. And again, not to scapegoat Ozil, I don't believe in any of our midfielders apart from Thomas Partey, and he is not fit until January the earliest. So it's crazy, man.